Hello, everyone. It's the DCEU podcast, man, and this is going to be a special edition of the DC Extended Podcast. For today, I'm going to be discussing about not just one thing about the DCEU, but the three topics. And I will be discussing about the Justice League Snyder Cut, the much wanted Ayer Cut of Suicide Squad, and Henry Cavill's return as Superman. The first thing I want to discuss about with the Justice League Snyder Cut is woohoo! Us fans finally won. After about 3 years of long petitions, online rants, we finally get the Justice League movie we fully deserve. It will be premiering on HBO Max next year. They haven't given a specific time and date, but looking forward to it nonetheless, as I am sure that you are all aware of the deleted or uncut or unfinished scenes that was originally supposed to go into Justice League before they switched directors. Starting with bringing in Martian Manhunter. The general that we've seen in Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman is Martian Manhunter. He was going to be a major reveal in the movie right before the director's switch and we got the movie we have now, which in my opinion isn't as bad as some people would say. I don't know, I'm just biased because I love Justice League, but yeah, it could have been a whole lot better. Now, this is an important thing. After all, in the original comic books, Martian Manhunter is not only like one of the top members of the Justice League, but he's also one of its founding members. So even though I'm okay with the movie, that was one of the things that was unsettling to me, was with how they didn't have one of the Justice League's founding members in the movie. And, there was also that confusion with the tagline, Unite the Seven, even though there's only 6 of them. So, yeah, that tagline's finally gonna fit. We'll also be getting with the nightmare sequence we saw in Batman vs. Superman when the Flash met Bruce Wayne in the Batcave, how he was warning him how he was right and Lois Lane is the key. Originally, the Justice League movie was supposed to bring in Darkseid, and that nightmare sequence was supposed to have Darkseid somehow controlling Superman, but, decided to go in a completely different direction. Even though the setup was pointless to how the movie came out, one thing Justice League, the original version, did right was not reveal that the number one big baddie in all of DC, Darkseid. I mean, I get they want to try to do it different from what Marvel's doing, where they build up the Thanos, but still, because of how they rush the team-ups, I just feel like how they rush this is just, well, it's just very unsettling to me, because something like this should be built up, not to just dive right in right away. I mean, even in the DC TV shows that we all grew up with, even had a build up to him, like in Superman the Animated Series, they didn't just give us Darkseid right away, they built up to him. It may have revealed him, but in the confrontation between Superman and Darkseid, it took some time to build up before they finally met and fought each other. Plus, there's the death of Superman in a comic adaptation of Superman coming back with his black suit and not being brought back to life like they did in Justice League. Because we saw a foreshadowing of that in the end of Batman vs. Superman, but because of how the movie turned out, that was also pointless. So, hooray. All this continuity error is finally going to be cleared up. But I also want to discuss what this means for the DCEU. Now, in a previous episode, I discussed about how I read online that the upcoming Flash movie was going to adapt the Flashpoint paradox and make it where the Batman, Wonder Woman 1984, and all the other upcoming DC movies were going to fit now that they have all these new stories and new cast members, like how they replaced Ben Affleck with Robert Pattinson as Batman. And in doing this, they're going to forget about Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, and Justice League. Although, if this is done right, They may alter it a little, like maybe we'll still keep the storylines of those movies, but still rewrite them to fit. Like maybe we won't have the Batman and Superman showdown, but maybe there'll be some mention of Superman disapproving of Batman's like tactics, or like how Batman doesn't approve of Superman's overwhelming powers. But at the same time, this will also alter things like Robin, or like, well, maybe they'll even erase like the early confrontation of Darkseid and just try to build up to him, rather than diving right into the showdown with him. The Snyder Cut will also bring in the Green Lantern, even though we've seen a Green Lantern in Justice League, and there's been some foreshadowings of him in early DCEU movies, like at the end of Batman vs. Superman, at Superman's funeral. You see one of the jets flying out of line, like Hotshot like. People said that was Hal Jordan, since, he's a pilot. And also, if you look at Batman vs. Superman, and the part whenever Superman is flying up into outer space with Doomsday, you see a green light that people have speculated is the Green Lantern. So, yeah, this will be a good way to introduce him and, prepare us for when we finally get the Green Lantern movie. And because they're actually taking time to build this, hopefully we can get better CGI than what we got in the original. Especially, we can avoid having to CGI any body parts, like with Superman's mouth. I mean, I get that Henry Cavill wanted to keep the mustache because of another movie he was filming at the time, but they could have done a whole lot better. Like with Captain America, the First Avenger, Steve Rogers was very short right before the Super Soldier Serum, and he got taller. And in actuality, Chris Evans is tall, but Marvel had to CGI him to look puny. So yeah, if they could have done that for Captain America, then DC could have done it better for just one mouth. But moving on to the Ayer Cut of Suicide Squad. Okay, let's be honest, Suicide Squad was a mess, just like most of DC's early films, except for Wonder Woman. But the Ayer Cut had promised us more footage of Joker and an alternative story. Now, what I want to see the most is those extended cuts of Joker. Because let's be honest, people say that Jared Leto's portrayal of Joker was terrible. But I think the case being is that there wasn't enough footage for us to really see him portray the clown prince of crime. So we can't exactly say it's terrible if we haven't seen much of it. That's like saying that Thanos was terrible when we saw him in the post-credit scene of the first Avengers movie, even though it was just a short foreshadowing. And not only that, but we can also look at like the relationship between Joker and Harley Quinn. People say that Joker was supposed to be abusive towards her, like he is in the comics and all the TV shows. And, so that's fine because that's really capturing Joker's character. Like he can be this manipulative kind of guy who makes you think he's gonna support you, but ends up backstabbing you, or worse. And pretty much with the Ayer Cut, I want everything in the Snyder Cut for it. Like a better story, better pacing, definitely better CGI, and hopefully better portrayals of the characters. And also, the Ayer Cut is pretty much in the same boat as Justice League for when the Flashpoint paradox happens. Like, we're gonna see how this is gonna be handled. Like, who's gonna stay, who's gonna leave, who's being replaced. But something I hope to see in the Ayer Cut and Snyder Cuts are great Easter eggs. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Easter eggs in both movies were great. Pretty much one of the few good things about those movies. But still, Easter eggs that I'm looking for are in Justice League, maybe having them play the Justice League theme song from the animated series that came out in the early 2000s. Because, not only was that the first real TV adaptation of the Justice League, besides this one canceled live action one, and the Super Friends, like, that one was more comic book accurate and followed the Justice League comics a little bit more closely. Maybe they can do like an Iron Man, have that like a ringtone to someone's phone, or maybe like play on the radio, be like a jingle in a little commercial, or just playing somewhere in the background. Because I really love the theme song. Kind of like what they did with the 1989 and 1978 Batman and Superman movie theme songs. They had them playing, which, that's really the highlight for me, because those are the greatest interpretations of those two heroes ever, besides The Dark Knight for Batman, of course. And maybe Suicide Squad can make some reference to the DC animated movie universe versions of themselves. That'd be cool to see. Or like they could just make some kind of mention, or maybe like Amanda Waller can make some reference to them when going through all the metahuman files. One thing that would be cool to see is that maybe if they make some reference to the upcoming The Batman, or some kind of Easter egg to them, or their upcoming DCEU movies, like say the Suicide Squad, to show like there's some connectivity to those reboots, to the previous incarnations of them. So that way they're not totally forgotten or erased from the timeline, but showed like they're just altered, like they still fit, but in an alternative form. And also, I feel like they should reference our Easter egg, the Super Friends, try paying some homage to the earlier interpretations of them on TV. And maybe Justice League can erase the moment with Aquaman holding back the water, because that leaves a plot hole in the DCEU for Aquaman. I mean, does he have power to control water also, like Mera does? Or was that just the Triton? It never showed. It never explained that. It just shows him control, or at least talking to sea creatures. And the last thing I want to talk about is with Henry Cavill's return as Superman. Now, I can speak for everyone when I say how excited I am that he's returning and not having to be replaced like Ben Affleck was. I mean, don't get me wrong, maybe they could have casted someone good, but I feel like Henry Cavill really nails it as Superman. Though I'm disappointed with how this comes with a catch, that according to some articles, he's going to be given sort of like the Incredible Hulk in the MCU, how he's more of a supporting character, which, okay, I'll admit that it would be cool for him to be a supporting character in the upcoming like Shazam or Black Adam movie, in the upcoming Shazam 2, or in Black Adam, though that one is very unlikely, since that movie takes place way before Superman's time. And, he can be in Supergirl, could be just like when Iron Man mentored Spider-Man in Spider-Man Homecoming. But seriously though, I really don't like the whole idea of just giving Superman a supporting role, because he's one of DC's greatest heroes. I put him in the top 2 with Batman. And in saying so, Superman deserves to be in more movies, more sequels, not just supporting roles. I feel as though the DCEU doesn't do Superman enough justice, despite being one of the members of the Justice League. Because first, they rush all of Superman's greatest and most defining moments instead of building up to him. Then they end up CGIing his mouth. And the final battle with Steppenwolf, he took him out way too easily. Like, the fight between them could have been a little bit more even, because Superman is known for holding back all of his true power, so even though he could have beaten him as easily as he did, it could have still have been more of an epic clash in between two titans rather than one overpowering the other so easily. I mean, Sure, the DCEU may have somewhat overdid him with how powerful he was, but hopefully with the Snyder Cut, they can do better, because I know they'll erase the fight with Steppenwolf, how Superman like severely overpowered him, but still, there's so much like Superman content that could be turned into a movie for him to star in. He can take down Darkseid, and not to mention he has so many powerful villains that would make great villains in Superman movies, not just in Justice League movies, just Superman, like Brainiac or Parasite, heck, even Livewire. Having those characters means that they'll have to, or they need Superman. After all, I mean, don't get me wrong, comic book movies aren't always comic book accurate, but it's still be more comic book accurate if they had Superman movies with these villains instead of putting them in upcoming Justice League movies or any other spin-offs. But in the future DCEU movies, a little Easter egg or reference that I feel like they should do for Henry Cavill's return in whatever movie they're gonna put Superman in next is mentioning about the internet rumor about how he was going to be replaced with Michael B. Jordan, because even though he ended up not taking up the role, like all the rumors were going around saying, it'd be a nice way to honor one casting that was about to become a reality. Plus, with the reboot with the Flash movie, it'd be interesting to see how they handle the change in the DCEU's timeline with Superman, especially with how the DCEU is going to forget about the first few movies they've done. See like how they handle Superman's character after this reboot, because unlike Batman, they're keeping the same actor, but they're going to change it where he's younger, so that means that the whole skipping over 20 years worth of Batman would probably be erased also. They'll probably just skip over a few years since they're going to bring in like not just one, but a few of his villains. So they'll probably make it where Superman never fought Doomsday, General Zod, or with what happened with Lex Luthor secretly plotting his demise in the fight between him and Batman. But we'll have to wait and see. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed my podcast, please hit like and subscribe to my channel. And you can check me out on other podcast listening sites like Spotify or Google Podcasts. Just thank you and goodbye.